This time it's my privilege to introduce our keynote speaker, Mr. Philip J. Cronin, Executive Director of the USO of New England. Phil Cronin became Executive Director of the USO Council of New England in April 1991. He's the Senior Management Representative for the USO activities conducted throughout the agencies around the operations. He serves as liaison between the military and civilian communication. He oversees the planning of all USO programs. In 1993, he traveled to the war-torn country of Somalia to serve as Director of the USO operations during Operation Restore Hope. At this time, it gives me pleasure to introduce Mr. Philip Cronin.
What a wonderful country we live in. A country where diversity is not a challenge, but a way of life. A country where we can freely debate politics, religion, and social values. But we must not ever forget that our freedoms are not free and our democracy is not a monopoly. The price of our freedoms and the making of our democracy is what we are here to honor. A grateful nation comes together today to memorialize those who paid the ultimate sacrifice. Some celebrated, others quite unknown. Each a patriot and a hero. More than 600,000 have fallen in combat during the 222-year history of our nation. This great city of Cambridge gave up its share of patriots. In World War I, 74 were killed in action. In World War II, 296. In Korea, 22 sacrificed their lives, and there are 18 names on the Vietnam Memorial in Washington, D.C. Countless numbers of Cambridge citizens have been wounded in action, and many have become POWs or MIAs. These brave Americans exemplified the best of American values under the harshest of conditions and often far away from home, on battlefields with names familiar and lesser known. The fields of Lexington, the beaches of Normandy, the mountains of Korea, the jungles of Vietnam, the sands of the Middle East, and the streets of Somalia. We should be especially pleased to see many of our youth here today. Most of them have no idea of war. Today may be just a day off from school or the welcome to the summer season. Today we urge them to pause and remember some essential lessons. Appreciate the blessings of freedom. Recognize the power and virtue of sacrifice, and respect those who gave everything on behalf of our common good. This day reminds us of what we can achieve when we pull together as a nation, respecting each other and all of our differences, but coming together to fight the battle and face the challenge. Today we are reminded of our duty to honor not only those who lost in freedom's cause, but also the servicemen and women who came back home and are now our veterans, especially the 8,886 living veterans who reside in Cambridge, nearly 10% of this city's population. We also pay homage to the families for whom there have never been a final accounting. Memorial Day reminds us of our obligation to take care of those who have taken care of us and who take care of us today. That means ensuring that our men and women in uniform have the best training, the best equipment, and the best preparation possible to do the difficult job we ask them to do. It is America's responsibility to remain the world's leading force for peace, prosperity, and freedom as we enter the 21st century. Today, our men and women in uniform are stationed in such places as Bosnia, Kuwait, and in more than 130 countries around the world. They exemplify personal courage, both physical and moral, facing fear, danger, and adversity on a daily basis. They embrace loyalty, faith, and allegiance to our Constitution. They carry out their duty with honor and integrity, treating all with dignity and respect. They put the welfare of our nation and its people before their own, and in the highest traditions of selfless service. Recently, I reviewed a list of countries where our military forces receive imminent danger pay, what most of us have referred to as combat pay. There were 37 countries on the list. The world is not as peaceful as we would like to believe. As you visit veterans' gravestones throughout this cemetery and notice the thousands of flags displayed with honor and respect, you should agree that those who have gone before us did not die in vain. This great country that we enjoy today stands at the pinnacle of power, success, and influence as a nation because of these men and women. It also stands at the pinnacle of responsibility. I'm very proud to represent the USO, for it is an organization which was born out of our responsibility to support the troops in peace and in war. Perhaps many of you only think of the USOs as the camp shows during World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. Well, I'm pleased to report to you today that the USO is just as important for the morale of the troops as the USO you might remember from yesteryear. Today's USO provides morale, welfare, and recreation type services in over 120 centers around the world. There are 33 independent USOs located throughout the United States. 5 million patrons are served annually by this network of home away from homes. Americans have always believed that there are values worth fighting for, and through the efforts of the USO, we support the troops wherever and whenever they are put in harm's way. As we remember those who gave everything for our nation and its freedom, let us resolve to honor them by renewing our commitment on the eve of a new millennium to lead the world towards greater peace, prosperity, and freedom. In their 70 years of honoring those who didn't come back and supporting those that did, the American Gold Star Mothers are making preparations for the 61st National Convention to be held in Boston this summer. In closing, I would like to quote their poet and activist, Mildred Gast. They live with shattered hearts, the Gold Star mothers of our past wars. Yet with unnerving faith, they try to live as he or she would want them. When memories would change to madness, they carry on with their heads held high, for surely they can suffer if their brave sons and daughters had to die. On behalf of the USO of New England, I'd like to thank you for your very warm hospitality and for remembering our brave men and women who have served or are serving in our military. Our USO programs continue to be important to them because our communities continue to care. Thank you very much.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, purple mountain majesty.